All things lead to moments, some that grow and glow and others that fade and dim. The moment is your choice. There comes a time in life when something shifts inside you. I felt it in myself long ago. Not a thought, not a passing feeling, something deeper, something real, a knowing. And once that arrives, everything changes. The old life, the old patterns, the old ways of thinking. You can feel them loosen their grip. You try to return to who you were, to the comfort of the familiar, but you can't. Something in you won't let you, because once you know, you can't unknow. Once you see, you can't unsee. People think the turning point is loud, dramatic, explosive, but most of the time it's quiet. It doesn't come with fireworks, doesn't shout, it arrives. With certainty, like a tide that has already turned before you even noticed it moving. And in that moment, something becomes clear. You're not the same anymore. The in-between, the space after the knowing, but before your new life begins, is one of the most sacred places a being can stand, and also one of the most uncomfortable. It is the in-between. You're no longer who you were, but not yet who you're becoming. You've outgrown old versions of yourself, old stories, old expectations placed on you by family, society, even by who you once thought you had to be. And yet the path ahead hasn't fully revealed itself. Some days you feel clear, other days you question everything. You feel called forward, but towards what? This is the space where many people turn back, because the unknown feels heavy. The familiar tries to pull you back, but you can't return now, not really. You have to shrink again. You have to go numb again. You'd have to betray yourself again. And you already know where that road leads. This in-between has purpose. It strips away what's false. At least it can. Well, it will bring truth to the surface. Not the kind spoken by the mind, but the kind spoken by the soul. Like that deep core. Like that just is... It's a resonance, you know. It's like a clicking. And the soul does not negotiate. It moves you towards what's real. This is where a deeper question begins to rise inside you. Not the old survival question of how do I fit in, but something much truer. What is aligned with who I really am? Because everything has meaning, but maybe only some meaning matters. The meaning you were giving, told to accept, conditioned to obey, that meaning kept you in a story that wasn't yours. It wasn't even yours. Or it wasn't even mine. But now meaning begins to shift. You are no longer interested in what is expected. You now care only for what is true. See, this turning or awakening, knowing, humbling, this turning point doesn't arrive without a choice. And that choice is rarely between good and bad. It's between truth and untruth. And sometimes it's not very comfortable. Part of you still reaches for the familiar, even when it no longer fits. You may try to keep certain patterns alive, habits that you once helped you cope, identities that once kept you safe, relationships that once felt like home. But deep down, you already know. Nothing false can survive this phase. So the old world begins to push back. You feel the resistance. People may not understand. They may not understand you. Some may question you. Others may say you've changed. And they're right. You have. Because life is not asking you to stay the same. It's asking you to change. It's asking you to evolve. There's a moment in every transformation when the weight of holding on becomes heavier than the fear of letting go. That is when surrender happens. Not as defeat, but as awakening. You stop fighting what you already know. You stop denying or delaying what you're becoming. You realize not because you no longer care, but because you finally do. You finally care. And in that quiet release, you release something profound. You were never losing yourself. You were never finding yourself. You were never breaking. You were breaking free. There is power in surrender. There is. Because surrender is not giving up. Surrender is aligning with truth. When we stop resisting the truth of our own becoming, something beautiful begins to return to you. Memory. Not memory of events. This is your core memory, or if you would, your soul memory. A quiet remembering of who you were before the world told you who to be. Your body remembers, your energy remembers, the deeper intelligence within you, the one that has always been guiding you, begins to rise. You feel moments of alignment that are hard to explain. Synchronicities appear. Insights arrive without effort. Life feels as though it's speaking directly to you. And it is. You begin to remember that intuition is not a mystery. It's your original language. That truth does not scream. It simply stands and does not move. That life is not random. Everything is woven. That your path is not bound by force, but it's kind of revealed through aligning your alignment. This is the moment you realize something powerful. You were never disconnected. You were only distracted. Distracted by the noise of the world, the opinions, the fear, the pressure to survive instead of live, the stories that made you doubt your own knowing. But now, the signal is returning, the static is clearing. You are learning to tune in again. You may not know the full path ahead, but now you trust the next step. And that it's enough, because clarity does not come by forcing answers. It comes, it's neutral, it's natural. And clarity is the natural outcome of living in truth. And truth is returning to you, cell by cell, one breath at a time, one moment at a time. At some point, the turning point becomes more than a feeling, becomes a choice expressed through action. Change begins to move through your life. You start speaking differently, moving differently, choosing differently. You no longer move from fear, you move from alignment. You no longer abandon yourself to keep the peace. You choose peace. That includes you. You no longer tolerate what drains your energy. You begin protecting your field. You honour your time, your boundaries, your truth. And with each honest step, life responds. Because life does not align with who you pretend to be. It aligns with who you truly are. When you choose truth, truth rearranges reality around you. People who resonate with your path begin to appear. New opportunities land. They land without force. Guidance shows up at the exact moment you need it. This is the new frequency. The one you activate the moment you stop betraying yourself. The one that rises when you choose what is right instead of what is easy. The one that builds your life on truth instead of illusion. And even though this path asks you more, it asks so much more of you. It also gives you so much more. More clarity, more purpose, more energy, more connection, more life. Not because everything becomes perfect, but because everything becomes real. This awakening isn't happening just to you. It's happening everywhere, quietly, powerfully, across the world. People are reaching their own turning points, their own transmutations. This system we were taught to trust are showing their cracks. The narratives we were told to believe no longer hold. Instinctively, beings are beginning to feel that what was once hidden is in plain sight. We have been living inside a story that does not honour who we truly are, a story that worships speed over depth, noise over wisdom, control over freedom, consumption over connection, survival over life. But something in our spirit refuses to stay asleep any longer. Something ancient, something true. And so we are each being called to choose, not as a crowd, not as a movement, but soul by soul. The shift isn't about rebellion, it's about remembrance. Or maybe it's a rebellious remembering. It's about sovereignty of being, about returning to inner authority, about reclaiming the power to think, feel, choose, create, and know for ourselves. This transmutation or turning point is not just personal. It is vast, and it is affecting all planetary systems. Humanity is standing at a threshold between worlds, one built on fear and one built on truth, one that keeps us small and one that asks us to remember who we are. This is why you feel the change. This is why life has been shifting you, not to break you, but to prepare you. Because awakened hearts build awakened worlds. Once the shift has happened, after the turning point, life doesn't suddenly become simple, but it does become clearer. You begin making choices that honour your energy, you trust your own timing, you move with the rhythm of your own truth, not the pressure of the world around you. You learn that you don't need to have everything figured out. You only need to stay honest with yourself. You don't chase what isn't meant for you. You stay open to what aligns. You don't beg for belonging, you embody it. Living forward isn't about never failing again. It's about never abandoning yourself again. It's about choosing to remain awake, even when it would be easier to go back to sleep. It's about noticing when fear tries to close you and choosing openness anyway. It's about holding the line of your truth, especially when no one is watching. Because integrity is not what you show the world. It's what you stand on when everything else is stripped away. Living forward means learning to trust life again. And trust doesn't come from guarantees. Trust comes from knowing, deep in your bones, that you are connected to something wise, ancient, alive, and it walks with you. Your path is not behind you. It rises to meet you with every step you take in truth. Now, if you are here at this transmutation, transformation, turning point, if you are here standing inside this moment of change, your turning point has already begun. Maybe it arrived softly, maybe it came through a storm, maybe it came the moment you finally stopped pretending. But one thing is clear, you're not going back. Because you're no longer willing to live asleep. You're no longer willing to trade your truth for approval. You're no longer willing to carry versions of yourself that were never really you. You're here now, awake, aware, and becoming. And yes, the path ahead may be uncertain, but uncertainty is not our enemy. I'm getting tongue-tied there. It is the space where your new life can finally appear. Something is calling you forward, something real. It may not feel fully visible yet, but it is here. You can feel it. So let this be your reminder. Trust what you know. Honour what you feel. Choose what's true, not tomorrow, not someday, now. The turning point is not a moment in time. It is a declaration to yourself. It begins the moment you say, I choose not to go back, I choose to move forward, I choose to live awake, I choose to belong to my own soul. And when you choose truth, life will rise to meet you. I know that the truth is means different things for different people. In my opinion, truth is singular. This is the moment you stop pretending you don't know what you know. It's a turning point. Thank you for watching. My name's Caroline Bell Tumblety. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and a big thank you to everybody who's commented and subscribed. Thank you.